Welcome to the second week of Galaxy Network's weekly bulletin. I'm this week's host Manthus, and today we have an action-packed video full of the latest regional news, tournament news, and feature news. So make sure to watch until the end, like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell. For those of you that don't know, Galaxy Network is a news server currently on Discord, where we bring you the latest news from the competitive scene as soon as it is released. Galaxy Network offers articles, interviews, votings, tournament news, game news, and regional news, so make sure to join the Galaxy Network Discord server via the link in the description if you haven't already done so. Let's get right into this week's recap. Starting off with the regional news, we're going to be exploring the top 4 news stories of the Asian region. We come to the news that Envies has returned to the competitive scene. This is great news for Asia as it brings more competition to the Asian scene. The roster includes Chair, Compli, Dove, Hold, Painful, Pervial, Snai, and Extra. We will be following this team closely in the coming weeks. As this news comes in, we hear that Rez joins Everything or Nothing. A great player for a great team, he came back as a replacement for Noise and Extra, who left for other teams in the new game Area F2. Next, we come to the news that Night Sky Rangers has returned to the competitive scene. This is great as not only one team is reformed this week, 2 have, which proves how the scene is constantly adapting and changing. Let's hope that we can keep this up by promoting Asia even further. Finally, Legion and Unlock have joined Immense Gaming to replace Nuclear and Zernax. We look forward to seeing what impact they have on the team. As we conclude the Asian region, we move on to Europe, where we have some major changes to rosters. Let's get into it. Moving into the European scene, we start off with the news that Vector has left the second-ranked team Reign. This is a drawback for the team, as he's been a part of it for a long amount of time now. Hopefully they can keep up their stability and chemistry. Next up, we have the news that Adolkit has left Exclusive, another issue to add to Exclusive. To replace his role in Exclusive, Rezte has rejoined the team to bring the team back together again. Finally, for the European scene, we conclude with the news that 3G Clan has been picked up by Division 1, an organization that has been increasingly growing in Critical Ops. They have announced their new roster featuring Taco as their captain, and the players Atu, Flounzera, Jumin, Mao, Orly, and Rainy. Let's see how this works out for 3G. Heading into North America, we will see teams disbanding, reforming, and roster updates, so make sure to stay tuned. Coming into North America, we first come to the news of Inquisitive disbanding. This is a major shock to the scene as it has lost a highly skilled team. Next up, we have the exciting news that Robalo has joined Xenocide. He will certainly play a key role in the team's success, and I can't wait to see how he can affect the team's gameplay and chemistry. After the shocking news of Inquisitive disbanding, we see another team reborn from another's death. Legend Esports has returned and announced their roster featuring the players Nate, Eventual, Mirage, Seth, 12, Widow, and Wisher. We hope that this team can continue the journey that Inquisitive had started. Finally, for North America, we find out that Destined to Rise has parted ways with Olympia and Sierra. Sierra did move on to join Sector 7. Hopefully D2R can find replacements for these spots. Moving into the South American scene, we're starting to see more teams join the scene and more attention is being paid to it. This is great to see. Starting off, we find that Caveira Legends has returned to the scene with their roster of Gaijin, Nandon, Nacho Hex, Puffy, Smoker, and their captain Nikamo. Let's hope that they can prove themselves. Next up, Regenerated has been picked up by Dynamic Gaming with their roster of Neurotic, Biggest, Konai, Mr. High, Nardel, and Pecador. Let's hope that after their childish behavior, which led to them getting dropped by World Label Gaming, that they learned a lesson and can maintain a good reputation with Dynamic Gaming. Speaking of World Label Gaming, we have found out that they have picked up Team Emphies with their roster of Sexy Cake, Stud, Brocky, Gadea, and Ale God. As we wrap up the competitive scene news, let's take a look at some of the tournament news from this week. From this week's tournament news, we have a lot to cover from different tournaments, including scores from some of the top teams competing in some of the best cash prize tournaments out there currently. Starting off with the Hyphen tournament in the grand final, we saw CSPG Saints play Immense Gaming. After winning 16-13 in the first match, CSPG secured their win with an impressive score on the second match of 16-5. This is a great achievement for the team and will add to their current list of victories. We then head into the semi-final of the Dynamic Global Series, where we saw Destined to Rise face Amplified in a best-of-3 match. D2R showed their skill in the first match by winning 16-2. They went into the next game with a positive mindset and successfully secured their finals place with a score of 16-5. We will be watching these finals very closely. Starting off in Dreamers GG, we saw Exalt face MVP Stars in round 1. After an easy first match, Exalt took the lead of 1-0 with the score of 16-7. Going into the second map, Exalt once again dominated with the score of 16-2. Exalt will be moved on to the next round and MVP Stars will be leaving the tournament. Another match began as we saw CBK Esports take on Veteran. Starting the first match, CBK secured their win with a score of 16-7. Moving into the next map, CBK lost their streak and were defeated with a score of 16-14. Just when things were not looking so good for CBK, they won their final map with a score of 16-12. CBK will proceed to the next round. During the last match, we saw Valorous Gaming take on Destined to Rise. After Destined to Rise won the first match with a score of 16-15, Valorous Gaming re-secured their chance after defeating D2R 16 rounds to 15, a very tight game. In the final map, everything was to play for, yet Valorous Gaming kept their positive mindset and took the victory home with a score of 16-13. After all of your great suggestions from last week's video, we've added a brand new section known as Featured News. Its aim is to recap any important streams, updates, and trailers to you all. Starting us off this week is a competitive livestream from the developers. Let's get right into it. On Wednesday the 29th of April, Critical Force held their first of many upcoming competitive livestreams. These streams are specialized to bring the news without the hassle of giveaways and maps to the competitive scene. After YDX and Edwin introduce themselves, they go into the first major topic that has brought the scene into two sides lately. This topic was 13 rounds versus 16 rounds. For those of you who are not aware, throughout the past few weeks, Critical Force has been dropping hints towards major official tournaments with a rule set of 13 rounds to win. This caused a major reaction within the community, as only a year ago, this rule was changed by the community themselves to 16 rounds. However, to stick with the developers' plans, they went through the pros and cons of 13 and 16 rounds. In the end, they decided to continue the plans and use 13 rounds, not only in tournaments, but also for ranked. Next, we will stroll deeper into the recent news of faction weapons. In patch 1.14, we saw the newly made Operation Warpaint come into play. This game mode had the same core gameplay as Diffuse, but each faction, Breach and Coalition, had their own set of weapons to play with. This offers a wider range of strategies into the game. Although this is only a limited time game mode, it also serves as a trial for much bigger plans to come. It has now been confirmed that this change will certainly come into play in the near future. Whether it will appear in Diffuse, Ranked, Scrims, and Tournaments is unknown, but it is certainly going to be added into one of those 4 game modes. Critical Force has also told us that economy changes will be added to cooperate with the new 13 round rule that has been added. Currently, the economics of the game is set to first to 16 rounds. For this to all sync, this must be changed to enable pistol round to not influence the game as much as it used to with 16 rounds. As there are less rounds to allow a comeback, the start of the game will influence the team's chance of success, unless it is changed dramatically. We end this category with the news of freeze time changes. During ranked games, freeze time is the part where you are unable to move at the beginning of the round while buying weapons. This is going to be changed to 15 seconds from the previous 10 seconds. This should give teams a larger amount of time to talk about strategies and get ready to play the upcoming round. Moving on, recently the plans for update 1.16 were released. With Critical Pass 13 ending earlier this week, a new pass is set to be released. With no leaks released, we have no idea what to expect, so we're only hoping for the best. The flagship of this update is the return of the Spring Fair event. This will recall many memories that some of the oldest players went through during the spring of 2018. As always, Critical Force will usually make some modifications in the event, such as Armory 1887 from 2020, Winterfest from 2019, and Halloween from 2019. The novelties of this update include damage indicators and bullet tracers, which will have a big impact on both the casual scene and competitive scene. This is without forgetting the change on the timer and team deathmatch, which will be distributed in both soft mode and hard mode. This will definitely have an effect in the casual scene. For those of you that don't know, what this basically means is that you can respawn in a TDM whenever you are ready. You don't have to wait for the 10-second timer or 5-second timer to run out. That brings us to the end of this week's Galaxy Network Weekly Bulletin. Make sure to tune in on Friday for a new interview. Be sure to like, subscribe, and send any feedback and suggestions that you may have in the comments section. We hope you enjoyed the video, and have a great day.